The Speedmaster Chronoscope has to be one of the weirdest Speedmasters in the current collection. But my god, I love it. Hi everyone and welcome to Shaluso, and yes, today we are talking about the Omega Speedmaster Chronoscope. The Chronoscope was introduced in 2021, the same year as the new Moonwatch, and since then it still has really not found a normal, natural place within the Speedmaster lineup. To give some context, you have the Speedmaster Racing, which traces its lineage back to those Speedmaster Racings introduced in the 90s, the cooperation with Michael Schumacher to sort of usher in the Speedmaster's racing heritage in the modern era. That still kind of makes sense. The Moonwatch and all of the moons speak for themselves. Even the 57, it harks back to the original trilogy that they released, so that already had its backstory. The Chronoscope, meanwhile, is kind of an odd duck within the Speedmaster collection. It doesn't fit with any of the other narratives. It doesn't really have its own narrative either, because the Chronoscope name was last used on a DeVille, and that didn't have much backstory to it either. The only thing they have in common is that they're both quite quirky chronographs. To get any more context, you need to look back to the 1930s and 40s to at least understand where this dial layout came from. They're clearly harking back to that history, but again, it just kind of stands out. With its two-register layout, the multiple rings on the dial showing the tachymeter, the telemeter, and a pulsations meter, it's almost as if they didn't really know who was going to be using this watch, so they put different scales so that anyone could use it. They also fitted it with the Calibre 9908, which has the jumping hour hand. Probably one of the most useful things on modern Omegas is this jumping hour hand, because it means you don't need to get a GMT to have a watch that's easy to change the hour when you're traveling, for example. So it's this mishmash of sort of vintage inspiration, but then also modern movement in terms of it having that jumping hour hand. It has the Co-Axial Escapement, 2 barrels, 60 hours of power reserve, but then it's also manual wind, which I think is one of the best things they could have done. This predated the updated Speedmaster 57, which is also manual wind, and it addresses, in my view, one of the biggest problems with modern Omegas is that they're so thick. The equivalent of the Moon Speedmaster with a very similar movement architecture is over 16 millimeters thick. This, meanwhile, is only 12.8 millimeters thick, so it's much more in line with a regular Moonwatch or even something like a Daytona. On the wrist, it fits great because of that nice tapering modern bracelet, the short lug to lug, and the pivoting end links. For being a 43mm watch, it can still fit comfortably on the wrist. That reduced thickness also helps to make the watch not seem as massive. Honestly, the only downsides I can think of are that yes, they did sacrifice on the water resistance. It's only 50 meters compared to the 100 on some of the other Co-Axial Speedmasters, but that competes perfectly fine with the Moonwatch. It is still META certified, so it is tested properly to that rated depth. And the last little criticism I have is that since they made it manual wind, it would have been nice if they opened up some of those bridges to show a bit more of the chronograph mechanism. But these are all minor things. At the end of the day, this is a watch that really stands out within a collection that is already overcrowded. And since it's quite under the radar, I imagine they haven't made too many of these. I've never seen one of these in the wild except for at the AD. So my guess is when they eventually discontinue this, it will actually be quite a rare piece to find. While yes, it doesn't have an established marketing story like the Moonwatch or even a direct racing lineage, it somehow still manages to be interesting. If you want a Speedmaster that stands out, but still has all of the modern reliability, you're not going vintage, don't want to get a limited edition, this is the one to go for. And if you look on the pricing, its pre-owned prices are now much closer to what you would pay for a modern Moonwatch, but this has a much more advanced movement. And they even introduced the micro adjust on the Speedmaster on this first, not on the updated Moonwatch. I mean, it followed pretty quickly after, but again, it's just this sort of mishmash of Omega not really knowing what to do with it, and they've come out with a watch that is truly unique within their collection. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the Speedmaster Chronoscope? Do you think it's an ugly duckling, a diamond in the rough, or just another page in the ever-expanding catalog of the Omega Speedmaster? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, if you like this video, then make sure you like it and share it. If you want to see more pictures and infographics of watches, then you can check out my Instagram at Shaluso. If you want to see more videos of watches, then make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell as well so you know when the next video comes out. If you want to see more Omega content, then you can check out my playlist for that. But thanks for joining me on this quick exploration of what in my view is one of the weirdest but most interesting modern Omega Speedmasters. And we'll catch you on the next video.